Welcome back, everybody, I guess.
Welcome back to our wonderful film review
Action
segment.
film life. Action film life is what?
Action film life.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you've coined it.
Have I coined it? That's just kind
it.
of what I've been nicknaming all of the files that I've gone with.
Action film life.
Action film life.
That was our life for a long time, though. But that was when there wasn't much else to do.
That is when there wasn't much else to do. Yeah. This week, month, year, whatever the hell period of time this has been, we're talking about Charlie's decade, maybe.
Yeah.
We haven't been doing it that long.
No. That's
No.
a bit optimistic.
It's a bit, yeah, we probably... Will we be doing it that long?
Will we make it to the end of the decade? Who knows?
I don't know, Lottie. I just don't know anymore. But we're talking about Charlie's Angels.
The film series.
Not the TV series, which we just tried to watch an episode of and got very confused.
To be fair, we did try to watch the pilot, which is probably not the best place to start.
Yeah, but at the same time, we watched the Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu early 2000s action movies, and then the Elizabeth Banks helmed reboot / sequel.
It was a sequel rather than a reboot.
Like soft reboot / sequel, because they really try to just not acknowledge the original films at all.
Apart from the costumes.
Yeah, literally, like you just like a couple of bits, but that's it.
I guess it's because they couldn't get the original actresses back.
You were so convinced through most of it.
I was really hoping that one of them, like the evil person, or that Charlie ended up with Lucy Liu or Drew Barrymore or something, but it didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, no, you were so convinced that there was going to be one of the cameos from them, but maybe they all got asked and refused.
And they were like, nah, it's
I'm
alright,
doing
thanks.
better things now.
That was a while ago.
Well, that's a brief snippet into how we feel about the reboot, but at the same time, yeah, we're going to go talk through all the first three films.
Yeah, we got to start at the very beginning, back in the year 2000.
I keep forgetting that it's that old.
I'm surprised it wasn't called Charlie's Angels 2000, because a lot of things back then were called.
They didn't put the 2000 in...
Yeah.
Just in the thing, in the title. Yeah, I completely forgot
that was
that
the
it
thing.
was... Because I think, pardon me, when we were watching it, I was just like, oh yeah, it's just like, big love letter to like mid-2000s action films, and you were just like, it's in the year 2000. I went, what?
It was very ahead of its time.
What? I can't do that. Right. All of these films feel very unfairly rated on like IMDb and Metacritic. Like this first film only gets 5.6 and
out of 10.
Yeah.
What?
And only 52 out of 100 on Metacritic.
The first film is very good.
The first, we watched this must have been, 2-3 weeks ago at this point, maybe.
Yeah.
And the more I think of this film...
The more I like
the
it.
The more I fucking love it.
It's great fun.
I mean, there's lots to point out about just
it definitely
how...
has its flaws, but then I feel like every action film that we've reviewed has its flaws.
Oh, yeah. Some more so than others, Jumper. But...
Oh, boy. There was no 8-hour car scenes in this.
No. So it's a very campy, kitschy action film with Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu, which is pretty much like I don't know, like if they'd been in much before. Cameron Diaz definitely had.
And Drew Barrymore would have done.
Well, yes, but that was back in E.T. That was...
No, she acted through her teens. I'd say she was probably the most recognisable one at the time.
Was she now? Okay.
I think she was.
I cannot say.
I'm trying to think what else Cameron Diaz was in before the year 2000.
The Mask.
And, when was My Best Friend's Wedding? That might have been after that.
Was she in that?
This. Yeah, she was, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was Adam Sandler. That was probably... that's The Wedding Singer.
That's The Wedding Singer.
That's The Wedding Singer.
Drew Barrymore again.
That is... Okay, well, there you go. That really shoots me down immediately.
Yeah, I was going to say at the time maybe Drew Barrymore was the biggest star. But not since. Maybe Cameron Diaz is probably a bit more famous.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's... I don't know if it is worth going into what plot there is. It's a very convoluted
It's just your basic plot.
It is a kind of whodunit.
Yeah.
Is it even a whodunit? I think we might just be misremembering this.
It's to do with some stolen technology, isn't it?
Yes, it's Sam Rockwell's voice recognition technology.
They basically, the plot is eventually someone doesn't like Charlie, wants to kill him, and they have to go stop it so that they don't kill Charlie with a giant missile, I believe. They go all out trying to kill him. Yes, because
the finale escalates like very rapidly to the point where they're like disarming missiles in midair and shit. It's a very... Like, the whole film just starts off with...
very over the top.
Yeah, but it's...
in a good way.
Yeah, and it starts off over the top as well.
Oh, tell us about the opening scene, Fred.
Oh, it's... Like, we were concerned, start of all, whether it would be inappropriate, really, or bad, because it starts off with LL Cool J, the dude... On a plane, who we love from Deep Blue Sea.
We do love LL Cool J.
And he has some diamond buyer in the seat next to him in first class. Once he realises he's a diamond buyer, he throws himself out the plane. And with the diamond buyer, and they have this whole thing where Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu join them and wrestle this guy onto a boat.
In midair.
And
it's
then
great.
LL Cool J pulls off his own face and becomes Drew Barrymore in some sort of like ropey CGI Mission Impossible face mask.
It was kind of funny.
And we were like, is that bad? But it's LL Cool J obviously knowing in the script that he's meant to be Drew Barrymore.
I feel like they've hired LL Cool J, so it's not that bad.
Yes, but that whole sequence is just over the top. Nonsensical, like,
and it's a great opener because you know exactly what kind of film it's going to be from that opener,
and they go into
sets it up brilliantly.
They go into a sort of like collage montage. I fucking do I know English today? Apparently not.
I'm impressed. I knew that.
Yeah, you remembered words. I didn't.
I knew the words.
We roll reversing today.
Hooray!
Just montage of how different all the girls are. Which, interestingly enough, when we watched the show earlier on, that's the biggest difference I can see at the moment, is that they did give the three girls like wildly different personalities in terms of how they dealt with stuff. In the show, maybe they flesh it out in the...
I was going to say, we watched half of the pilot, so...
Yeah. But they did the opener of just like, but they're
all police women who are dissatisfied in their job, so quick to become
Charlie was just
detectives.
Like, gotcha.
Yeah.
I fucking love this film. I'm not gonna lie. It's bad. It's
good.
It's so bad. I don't know if it's so bad it's good actually, but it is this sort of like explosive level of entertainment that is helped along by a soundtrack that absolutely slaps.
It's great to look at, great to listen to.
Yeah.
Even the normal scenes where she's on a date. So Cameron Diaz is on a date with one of the Wilsons.
Luke Wilson. You cannot get his name right.
No.
Throughout the first two films, Luke Wilson plays the very shy and charming love interest for Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
And every time he came up, you just called him Owen every single time.
What can I say? They have very similar looks.
Well, they're brothers, so I'd expect that. But at the same time, like, Luke and Owen Wilson do look pretty different.
Well, that's not going to happen.
We have realised you have face blindness when it comes to all white men.
They're all the same. They were played by the same guy, right? Sorry, sneezed.
Gesundheit.
What was I saying? So even the scene where Cameron Diaz and Mr. Wilson are just going on a date, it turns into extravagant. She's dancing on the stage of Soul Train.
Oh yeah, they go into she turns into a whole dance number because she's just that whole lovable like.
Yeah, and that's just a scene of how that wasn't even to do with the plot. She's just on a date.
Oh yeah, because that's the scene where Luke Wilson he makes friends with all the bouncers. So like she pops back into shot and is just like, I've got to go. Charlie needs me. Kisses him and he looks back at the bouncers and they all go, eh. It's just like, oh my god, because they're all like, you know, jacked up, roided bouncers
and
of a
they've been
club.
ignoring him all night.
Yeah, and he's just doing the lovable Wilson shtick and being like, oh yeah, you guys like movies? I don't know, like fucking. But yeah. Oh, it's also got Matt LeBlanc playing Joey again.
He's playing a Joey-esque actor.
Yeah, he's Joey. Like, they probably couldn't buy the rights of Friends as well, even though most of them have probably been in Friends as well. But
it's Joey if he never met Chandler, maybe.
Oh, is that The Better Life?
I think Joey he'd have to find self-reliance.
Joey's not going to find self-reliance.
Well, that's why he falls for Lucy Liu, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
She's the most reliant person in the whole film.
Yeah. We do also have to talk about... I feel like we're not spending enough time talking about the actual women of Charlie's Angels, but...
They speak for themselves.
They do speak... They kick a lot of ass. A lot of the stunts they do, however gravity-defying some of them might be, I think it's pretty clear a lot of them are doing it themselves.
Anything from a distance...
Probably not.
Probably not, like jumping out the plane. I don't even think that was LL Cool J who did that.
Yeah, probably not. Because he had, a successful music career.
Any of those fight scenes, you could tell it's them getting punched around.
Yeah. Yeah,
there were probably wires involved because sometimes they went flying.
Oh, there was definitely a Crouching Tiger-esque like wirework situation thing to it. Yeah.
Every explosion they were thrown across, and they just got up and were like, "Oh, that's all right. Is everyone okay? Let's go."
Yeah. You've been blown
Hardy
up.
Angels.
You've been blown up by a rocket launcher. Fine.
Just a hair flick.
Yeah. Oh, the hair flicks.
You have to have a hair flick.
I forgot about all the just out of nowhere hair flicks. And also forgot just how creepy Crispin Glover can be. The creepy thin man. How do you forget about the creepy thin man?
Who rips out their hair. But luckily they're wearing wigs most of the time.
I mean, he pretty much only rips out Drew Barrymore's hair specifically.
But he rips out all three of them.
I see.
Yeah, you just remember Drew Barrymore the most because she's the one who's...
who's in love with him somehow.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing we kept going on about for the first two films.
In the first film, I had this memory that she rips out his hair in return and then they fall in love. But that did not happen in the first film, and we will get to that when we're talking about the second film. That needs to be brought back up.
That needs to be... I think
that was a very false memory of mine.
Yeah, I mean, there are duff moments to this film. I think probably the one that sticks out to me the most is the Chad, played by Tom Green, who I just don't find funny, and he's just a bit...
I think he was very much of the time, wasn't he? It doesn't quite work now, watching it back. And
we both kind of figured out... Well, we both kind of realised that Bill Murray was slightly phoning it in for his performance as Bosley. And there's a whole thing going on of, behind the scenes. I remember hearing about this at the time, that Lucy Liu and Bill Murray did not get along. So I was looking up this, trying to figure out if this was actually true. And according to Bill, it was more directed at the script. All his outbursts and stuff were directed at how bad the script was and that he just wasn't happy. But it came across as personal insults to Lucy Liu. I don't know how...
Did she write the script?
No, but I don't know how true that is.
I guess we can't tell unless we were there, can we?
Yeah, and of course there's nothing on... I mean, I'm only going by what I found through IMDb trivia, so there's nothing on there from Lucy Liu's perspective, so whether she has come back and just said, no, Bill was a dick, he's complete bullshit, we don't know.
I have no memory of the year 2000 anymore.
Yeah, but Bill Murray's phoning it in very obviously.
Yeah, you can tell. I feel like Bill Murray, if he doesn't want to be there, he'll let you know.
Yeah.
And he definitely didn't want to be there.
Which is impressive for a man whose entire comedic shtick is pretty centred around deadpan delivery. You have to have very straight and neutral expressions to do that. I
think Bosley was a very deadpan character.
But Bill Murray is.
Maybe it was just a bit of a miscast then.
They
needed someone a bit more over the top.
Yeah. Which again, they have in the second film, but that's a different matter. However, when this film just has such a ballsy confidence to it.
It does. It's like, we're doing this and this is great.
Yeah.
And then it convinced me. I was like, you are doing that, and that is great.
I mean, it convinced us from like minute 5. Like after that plane sequence.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna love this film.
Yeah, and like
it just doesn't stop. There's never a dull moment in it.
Yeah, and it's all, ridiculous, over the top, doesn't make a lot of sense.
If you're in a sort of mood for it, then this is the perfect film to watch, I think.
Yeah, it's very fun. I have like, out of the 3 we've seen, this is definitely, and again, I feel like I'm not talking that well about it because it's sometimes, ironically enough, difficult to talk about a film you really loved.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really talking about the main 3 characters a lot, but that's just because they played them so well. So the Lucy Liu, she was the serious sort of motherly character who kind of the take charge leaderish type. They've got Cameron Diaz, who's the sweet naive one, like I'm just here to have fun. And then we've got Drew Barrymore, who was like
the punk rebel.
I am a rebel. I punch out drill sergeants.
Oh yeah, that is in the first one. Isn't she dressed up as like a David Bowie character at one point in one of the montages?
Yeah,
like
it's those montages.
Like a wrestling, some sort of luchador wrestling competition that she's in, and she's dressed up like I said Ziggy Stardust, but then I think I got the character wrong.
I think that might have been the second film as well.
Yeah, but like it's that sort of like rebellious attitude. Of Drew Barrymore.
So those are the 3. Got different personalities, but they're all, you can, from the very start, they're played as they're all very, very close. They're very good friends.
That is it, yes. They are.
And that really helps.
They are very good friends throughout. They have known each other a long time.
There's no point in the film where they disagree with each other and have a fight. They're all very close throughout the whole film. I think that is a strength.
It is a very big strength for it. Yeah, it is a very big strength.
There was no sort of, we need some tension between, I don't know, Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore, quick catfighting.
There needs to be a horrendous misunderstanding that breaks the group apart for a bit, and like no there doesn't.
And it didn't need that either.
No,
they were. I like it. They all got along great,
and
you could tell that they were really good friends.
Well, what's your rating?
Oh, I don't know whether this is an S or an A. Okay.
Exactly. You gotta think.
Oh gosh, what did I put as A usually? You go first. I need to think.
Now comes the actual rating of the film, and I need to panic.
I'm panicking.
It's panic time, people.
Oh, what if I get it wrong? You go first.
I got it as an A tier. It's not quite perfect because there are some moments. I think when it falls flat, it falls very flat. Like as in the Chad and Bill Murray's phoning it in.
Oh yeah.
But when it hits the highs very fucking well. It hits like that whole final helicopter chase sequence. The fight scenes with the Thin Man are always really fun. The first fight scene they have with him, where they do it to like, I think it's Smack My Bitch Up by The Prodigy, and it's a banger of a song, and it's an actually like really well constructed fight scene as well. Just even though it's got wire work up the wazoo, it's like so well constructed.
You can't see those wires. It's
you
fine.
Can't. That they scrubbed them out digitally very well. Yeah,
they did. It's not like Thunderbirds.
Yeah, that was also the 60s. So, I would hope that in those 40 years, they'd be able to scrub out wires digitally by then. So, your rating, go, pressure, now.
I think I might also put it as an A.
Cop out.
Stop it! Also because there's a lot of the girls getting naked for no reason.
And who doesn't like that?
She was falling down a hill. That
can't
have been comfortable.
Falling down the cliff bit is not exactly, but like
there wasn't enough male nudity to counteract the female nudity.
Yes,
you've got to have it equal.
Yes, but your two like male leads in it were Bill Murray and Sam Rockwell.
I still think it should have happened. I'm just saying I don't discriminate based on age.
And I'm not saying they're bad looking dudes, but yeah, I'm gonna go with seeing Lucy Liu over Bill Murray. Like, somehow.
Well, I could go either way.
Fair enough. Fair enough, but yeah, no, not for me. Right. Oh my god. That's a review, I guess.
It sure is.
Now on to Charlie's Angels. Full Throttle.
Do you want to redo the timer?
No, I
Okay.
don't. I want to keep going with the timer.
Okay, fine.
I want to keep going with the timer. The timer is absolutely fine as it is.
Well, I'm just going to take a sip then. You carry on.
No, we do that. I'll take a sip of my coffee. It's going to be fine.
Don't burn your tongue.
We're long past that stage. I don't have a tongue left.
Oh, no.
It's a miracle how I'm pronouncing some of these words right now.
The brain in Spain.
Is that how you think people talk without a tongue?
Yeah.
You used your tongue to make that S sound.
How do you say S without a tongue?
I don't know.
Well,
We'll YouTube it afterwards,
Okay.
I guess.
we'll park that for now.
Yeah, put a pin in that. File on my notes of random shit Lottie has said that we need to investigate afterwards. I feel like we could just make a whole entire podcast about that. There's random shit we both come up with.
Stuff that I think about every now and again.
Earlier you said, what's the flag of Wales?
Yeah,
we were
I got that
watching
mixed up with Ireland, I think.
We were watching
Or
a
Northern
CGP
Ireland.
Grey video about, like, the American state flags, and you looked at Alabama's and was just like, that's the Welsh flag. The Welsh flag, of course, having a massive fucking dragon on
Well,
it.
so did Alabama's.
It didn't! It was just a red cross!
Well, maybe it should have.
Yeah, take note, Alabama. More dragons.
More dragons, please.
Okay, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, Lottie.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, it's got a 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is too high, and a 48 out of 100 on Metacritic.
It's an odd film because it's got the same sort of spirit, but
It is sloppily written.
I think they rushed it out.
It-
'Cause it
yeah.
came out in 2003.
Yeah, which you think from the first film doing really well to them obviously, because films get greenlit pretty quickly, especially if they're like making big bank. I can imagine it got greenlit pretty quickly,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
had 3 years, and this is what they came up with. I'm just not
3 years
impressed.
is pretty quick,
Yes, but
especially back then. They had less technology.
I mean, I don't know how long in production the first film was. Like, if they
no,
had
that's true.
they had
We're
5
not
to
sure.
6 years to write it and make it or whatever. Whether they had 3, I don't know. So, the biggest changes in it are like Bill Murray does not return as Bosley.
Which we're kind of grateful for.
Yeah, you get the much. I mean, he's put in some equally like cringe-worthy scenes, but they have Bernie Mac, the late great Bernie Mac.
Yes, he's a much better Bosley.
Yeah, who I've seen Bernie Mac in quite a few things. He turns up in one of my favourite Christmas films, Bad Santa.
I've not seen that.
Oh, we will probably. It's not an action movie, but I feel
Oh.
like we should watch it for a Christmas special, maybe.
Yes.
Especially if you haven't seen it. Bernie Mac's in that, and he is just like absolutely hilarious. He's just incredibly hilarious in it. And I annoyingly cannot remember anything else I've seen him in, but I'm pretty sure I've seen him in other stuff as well. But anyway, he replaces Bill Murray as Bosley, and
He plays as Bill Murray's brother.
oh yes, he does, doesn't he?
Yes.
I feel the plot is just threads spiraling out into nothingness.
It's not very well put together. It's kind of confusing about what's happening and why.
Yeah, because it's all to do with like the witness protection program. They're trying to get a list. The bad guys essentially are trying to get a list of the witness protection program and sell it to the highest bidder. Is the main overarching plot on that, but getting the list is an insanely convoluted progress that seems to have lots of threads that don't make sense.
They try and fit in as many cameos as they can, which doesn't help. So Bruce Willis is in this film.
He's in it very briefly at the start. Yeah,
Gets killed immediately.
Which I'm sure he was fine with, but it's just like, it's Bruce Willis, dog. Like,
But couldn't he have come back as Bosley?
yeah. Bruce Willis as Bosley.
I mean,
Oh, you know who should have been Bosley? Alec Baldwin. Why I just thought of Alec Baldwin, I
Really?
don't know, but I don't know why. Something about that sort of suave nature he has. If you've watched some of his other films,
no, but Bosley's supposed to be a bit goofy.
I think he could pull that off.
Could he pull that off?
I don't know why yet. Anyway, but yeah, there's. I don't know. Did you also remember that Shia LaBeouf is in it for a brief portion?
In the end, he gets adopted by the Bosley family as well, so he is now a Bosley.
Yeah, but I'm not. I am struggling to remember what relevance he has to the plot.
He was one of the people in witness protection that they had to protect. I can't remember why he was in witness protection.
That stunned silence was me trying to remember.
I remember the delivery of, "Oh yeah, those are the guys who killed my parents," and then awkward silence.
Is it because they're talking about the Irish gang they go after, aren't they?
The Irish paddies.
The Irish. Oh yeah, Drew Barrymore's old squad.
Yeah, because she was also in witness protection before she became an angel. You would have thought they'd done a background check, but hey ho.
Charles Townsend does not believe in background checks, apparently. Not thorough ones, anyway, because it's only like 6 years or something, isn't it?
Do you remember what her name was before she changed it to Alex?
Oh, yes. It's
Dylan?
the butt of all the jokes in the film. It's Helen's ass.
Helen's ass.
Helen's ass, yes, that's
Yeah.
what I said, thank you. Thank you very much.
But, yeah, I think there was a lot of butt jokes in it.
Well, yeah, especially when they find out her name. There's literally a solid, 2-3 minutes of
them just
it's
teasing
them
her.
sat on a sofa and Barrymore's in the middle, and it's Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu firing butt jokes back at each other.
And then even Shia LaBeouf chimes in.
Yeah, and you
Bosley doesn't understand the joke.
Oh, he doesn't, does he? I think we've probably got more of a fondness for this film than we would like to admit.
Yeah, it's. I feel like if they took some of the bits from this one and some of the bits from the first one, you'd have that perfect S-tier film.
Yeah, but it's
just a bit all over the place. It's a bit messy. I didn't really understand what was going on. The fight scenes were good.
Some of them, the one in the warehouse is fine. The one that sticks out to me for ridiculous gravity-inducing, defying stunts is the motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
They have a motocross. They go to a motocross event, which is where they first meet Shia LaBeouf. Because they're trying to save him during the motorcycle race.
That's where all the orphans hang out.
And motocross, yeah. And some of the stunts that happen in that motocross are just no, that's not how physics and gravity works.
I kind of liked it though.
Oh yeah, it's the highlight of the film,
yeah.
for sure. Because I'm trying to think.
There's one bit where Cameron Diaz's bike gets blown up in mid-air. She does a flip and lands on
Drew Barrymore. She lands on Drew's bike.
And then they just carry on.
But yeah, because they're all travelling, obviously, hurtling through the air forwards. Her bike blows up, so she does
a flip.
A very, very badly photoshopped CGI flip sideways, and then lands on a bike. So she's on the bike that's going exactly the same speed in the same. It doesn't make sense.
That's because they're angels.
That's not meant to excuse shitty physics recognition, Lottie.
But it's something I can forgive because that's the kind of universe they exist in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bizarre film, and simply as well for the fact that the bad guy isn't really introduced until they're revealed as a bad guy.
Well, yeah.
And
then there was that opener.
What was the opener for this film?
In Mongolia.
Oh God, the Mongolian opening. Yeah, I forgot.
Very odd choice of opener.
Yeah, they're saving the T-1000, Robert Patrick, from a Mongolian
prison basement.
Who knows? It's like a cellar. It basically on the top
bar?
It feels like a pub.
Yeah.
And in the bottom it's a prisoner of war camp. It's weird.
I guess Mongolia is so small that they can only fit it there.
We have to condense them both into one building, because on the top there's Yeah, Cameron Diaz riding a mechanical bull.
Pretending to be a Swedish tourist in Mongolia.
Because that's... I don't know.
I'm not sure why.
And then there's Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu breaking Robert Patrick out. But their plan is just to walk him through the front door whilst everyone is distracted by Cameron Diaz.
Which goes well-ish until I think they trip over some fat guy.
No, the hawk squawks.
Oh, that was it.
There's just a hawk or a falcon in the room that just goes... and they all turn around because apparently that bird never makes noise otherwise. Unless there's other people it doesn't recognise.
Maybe it used to be a mine canary. And they thought,
and it evolved like a Pokemon?
Yes, into a hawk. Just like an ugly duckling that turned into the swan.
Oh my god, I never thought of that. It's a duckling, and then it's a swan. That is a different species.
Have you never...
Somehow that's just never connected in my head.
You've never even heard the story. It's a whole story.
Yeah, I have, but for some reason it's never connected that those two aren't the same animal.
Oh, that's what... okay, we'll park that for a moment. We'll come back to that
we'll
later.
Pin that. I don't know what else to talk about this film. It's a very weird film.
Well, one thing that I said that we will bring back is Drew Barrymore falling for...
Creepy thin man, fucking hell, yeah.
So I had this memory that she pulled out his hair, and then they fall in love, and then it's a happy ending. But what actually happened is that scene...
It's not even, really close to what you said, because there's a bit... It's the finale fight. She fights creepy... No, she's fighting the Irish guy.
Creepy thin man comes in as a good guy because apparently he is an orphan, and he wants to save all the orphans, including Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
So he's on their side in this film.
This is also explained to us in the best cameo of the film, Carrie Fisher as a nun, which is amazing. We all love Carrie Fisher, obviously, but she is just a super strict nun, and it's so funny. I was just like, that's goddamn Carrie Fisher. And you spent half of that scene going, no, that
is
can't
it?
be.
Are you sure? I can't... Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, it is. And we went, yay! But yes, that final fight, he supposedly, kicks the Irish guy off the roof. Then...
No, before that creepy thin guy dies.
No. Because there's the moment... There's the moment. They kick They kick the Irish guy off the roof, supposedly.
Okay.
They then have a moment where he rips out her hair... And I think in a moment she does the same. But she does end up with a strand of his hair because she pretends to sniff it as well.
And then they look into each other's eyes and there's something there.
And they go to kiss and then he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And falls backwards off the roof.
Which I thought at the time, you know what, he still might be okay.
He's a hardy human, he's still good. He'll
still be okay. It's just a little stab and only about... 5-6-story building,
like Homer Simpson with the pig. It's still good. It's still good. It's still good. But
I was more thinking John Wick. He fell from the same height and he was fine.
Oh, that probably another reason why John Wick 3 ended up on an A tier, because he falls off a literal skyscraper and doesn't die at the end of the third film. And you're like, okay.
Very painful as well.
Yeah, well, he hits every balcony on the way down.
I think that's what saves him. It slows him down a bit.
I don't think the amount of balconies you hit is relevant to how much you survive.
It's like Homer Simpson when he hits every tree on the way down.
Oh, what? Down that fucking mountain.
We've spiraled. Go back to Drew Barrymore.
But yes, so
he falls off.
Creepy thin guy gets stabbed by the Irish guy.
He falls off the building.
And then
I think maybe he's still alright.
Yeah. Irish guy gets then kicked off the building by Drew Barrymore. Lands on the sword on top of creepy thin guy.
Yeah.
And then there's light up circus letters.
Well, before the circus letters, the bad guy tries to get up and creepy thin guy tries to pull him back down onto this sword. So they're both still fine at this point.
Yeah, and then
they might be alright.
There's big neon Moulin Rouge style big circus letters, and one of them falls down and crushes both of them. Like big spark explosion, just like boom.
At that point, I've lost hope that Creepy Thin Guy survives.
Because I was just like, as they were like embracing to kiss, they make this whole point in the film that Drew Barrymore's only attracted to bad guys. So that's where that sort of wiggles in from. It's not a very well thought out plot line.
No, there's also a bit where she's scared that he'll go after the other angels, so she runs away from them. Even though he goes after them anyway.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to stop him going after the other angels.
It's that fake conflict that I was glad wasn't in the first film. Comes up.
Yeah, they had to make it for this one.
I was like, no, they're such good friends. She would have just talked to them, and then they would have told her, don't be ridiculous.
But yeah, there's just a weird. Yeah, there's a moment where you think, oh my god, Lottie might actually be right. They might actually end up together.
He didn't believe me.
I really didn't, because I know I'd seen this film before, but I didn't remember much about it.
Well, that's the only thing I remembered. Apparently, I just made up the happy ending in my head.
I think I had remembered that Creepy Thin Guy was in it again, but I don't.
Back to the Future too, where he is not.
Yeah, but that blew my fucking mind. I, for some reason, had it in my head that Crispin Glover was the father in both Back to the Futures. He was not.
A lot of people think that he was.
He's not in number 2. And
no.
I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, my whole life is a lie. That sort of moment where my whole life is a lie.
That's why he got so angry, and that's why George McFly is not really in number 3.
Yeah, or any form of McFly is in number 3, really.
Well, no, the mother still is.
Oh, yes, they're giving back her, don't they? What would you give Full Throttle? Charlie's Angels Full Throttle gets this rating from Lottie.
Kind of probably gets the similar rating as the Pierce Brosnan Bond films. I think it's on that level.
But you need to give it a letter value.
I'm really debating whether it should be a B or a C. I think I'm going to give it a B.
Okay. I've got to add that to my notes.
Just mainly because some of the bits, I like the motocross things. When I really liked that part.
Again, those action scenes are quite funny.
Yeah.
There are some
and also
ridiculous
turns. They
turns.
die in an explosion in the end.
Yes. They all die. It's
just the plot.
I think,
where it falls down.
The trying to keep a hold of this movie's plot is like trying to wrestle a live alligator. It's just not.
Hold sand.
It's just not going to happen. You're just like, fucking get back here. Focus on one thing. And it can't focus. And again, Demi Moore as the bad guy. You know why we haven't mentioned her? Because she's in one scene before she's revealed as the bad guy, and it's like 45 minutes before she's revealed as the bad guy.
Not the most interesting bad guy. I prefer the Irish guy.
Yeah, she pops up as a cameo on the beach where they're looking for like a male assassin who they track.
You're gonna sneeze.
That's why I stopped.
No, I'm all right.
Okay, cool.
Carry on.
But they're tracking they're tracking an assassin who then leads them to the motocross game. And as they're on the beach tracking this guy, Demi Moore just pops up and she's like, "Oh, hi, you're one of the angels, aren't you?" It's like, "Oh yeah, you were one of the original angels."
Not
and then,
one of the original, just a past.
Or just like, well, past angel. And then Demi Moore just fucks off, and she's not mentioned about, talked about, or like seen again for like 45 minutes before she comes back in as the bad guy.
We just assumed she was another Carrio, like not Bill Murray.
Bruce Willis. And Carrie Fisher.
And
then she's the bad guy of the whole thing, and
I mean, it was a good twist because we didn't see it coming, but it was also a bad twist because nothing really put together.
Because, they have to do this whole weird, like, exposition dump talk at the Los Angeles Observatory, don't they?
Yeah.
They literally all just stand in front and just go through the whole... Think of a generic exposition dump in a film, and that's exactly what happens there.
Spaced out a bit.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, we're not shooting or blowing anything up at the moment. Get to the point. Like,
so what is your rating of this?
It's a C. It's a C. Like the whole like messy threads and everything like that just kind of it just ruins it. Like the action scenes when they are like getting good are very fun.
Yeah.
But there's not enough of them in this one.
No, I'd say watch it if you really enjoy the first one. I don't know, give it a watch because it's a sequel and it's got a better Bosley in it. But
it does have a better Bosley.
If you're not really interested, then maybe not.
Yeah. I will say that We probably don't have a lot of good things to say about this reboot, though.
But before we talk about it, I need to blow my nose.
Go do that then.
I am a lady. I do not blow my nose in front of
You are not.
How dare you?
I've known you for long enough to know that you are not a lady.
Cut that. Cut that from this. Everyone put mean comments about Fred.
No, they love me. Probably love you more, to be honest. That's why you're named the Lovely Lottie.
And you're just average.
It's self-deprecating humour at its finest.
Oh dear.
Oh, right. The Charlie's Angels reboot of 2019 /sequel /Elizabeth Banks fan project. 5.0 on IMDb and a 52 out of 100 on Metacritic. So it seems to have been rightly averaged because we watched this.
I really wanted to like it.
Yeah, so as we're filming this, we tried to watch it a week ago.
Stuff happened.
Trains happened.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Trains happened.
Trains didn't happen.
Yeah. So we literally watched about three quarters of it, maybe, and we missed out on the finale. But
we watched the finale separately, which is interesting.
Well, I went and watched the entire thing again because I was just like,
I didn't.
I'm gonna make sure I get everything like nailed down in this. I'm just gonna be, I want to make sure I get as much in. And I thought I'd try and make notes, which you can see on my screen. But, yeah, it was so confusing. So it's a 2019 sequel, which we kind of didn't know if it was a sequel or reboot when we started going into it. It's written, directed, and produced by Elizabeth Banks, who we do kind of like, but I'm waning on it after this.
Do you think there was a lot of other people writing the script as well
that just didn't put their names to it?
Maybe.
It does have that air to it.
It feels like it wasn't written by one person.
And if so,
stuff that doesn't make sense.
And if so, Elizabeth Banks really needs to tone it back, or try and
Maybe she was tired. It happens to the best of us.
What, writing a 120-page script? Well, she had to
write it and then be in it and then produce it. It's tiring.
It is a lot of tiring work, but at the same time, you could do a lot better. I'm confused as to where to start with the whole thing. So kick me off with a point.
Okay, so the opening is Kirsten Stewart. She's sort of working undercover to get this person who's stealing humanitarian aid. And you think, great, she's one of the angels. And then at the end of the scene, about 15 women storm the whole building. And I was like, that's more angels than we're used to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of angels, but okay, 15. Maybe they've split into groups of 3 across America. Yeah. But no, they are just a small number.
Yeah. So
since the year 2003, there are about thousands and thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah. That is set up quite quickly on where it's implied that Bosley, who is now played by Patrick Stewart, and is retconned in a weird number of shots where he's stood there with Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu and all that. Remember that retirement?
Yes.
It's implied that he's taken what was the Charlie's Angels of the first 2 films,
the Lady Detectives Agency,
and expanded it into a international organisation or an international private investigator.
I don't know. Sometimes it seems like a private investigation. Sometimes it feels very military.
Yeah, especially with some of the people that. Well, if you've got people like Jane, the character of Jane in the film,
who was ex-MI6, it's explained. So not an ex-policewoman, but an ex-intelligence lady.
Who will definitely have so much
national secrets.
Yeah, and a lot of firearms and military training that it's probably a bad idea to have her on a PI team.
So it's very much Charlie's Angels has turned corporate.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels LLC.
Yes. We also this bit got me the most. We find out that Charlie's dead.
Oh yeah, Charlie is a dead man. Charles Townsend
No.
is no longer. Well,
Why?
you just have to get a different. You'd know it wasn't him because he would sound different. Either that or they use AI voices of Charles Townsend or whoever the actor was that played him. I'm not sure.
They did that at the end when we find out who was playing.
Oh, it's a voice
Charlie.
modulator, isn't it? So yeah, you do that anyway. I'm trying to figure out what I didn't like about the film, and that's not to say that
it was a very gritty sort of spy film when we were used to a sort of over the top camp action film.
I would agree with you, except the characters try, aside from Jane. I'll put the actress on screen now because I flip the names around in the head all the time.
Don't ask me.
But aside from Jane, who is playing it very straight-laced, all the characters are very of the first two films. Kristen Stewart's character, Sabina, is very aloof and very party hard, like trying to be the Drew Barrymore-esque punk aspect of it. And she has this backstory that she says to people. She says to the scientist in the film, Ella, or what she's called. She's like, "Oh yeah, I grew up with men undermining me all the time, and I was, pretty much on the streets and all that sort of stuff." And then Jane immediately swoops in and just goes, "Wait, that's all bullshit. You were like the daughter of an heiress or something. You're an heiress or something like that. You grew up on,
Park Avenue."
And she was like, "More money, more problems." I'm like, that's
so she's a sort of rich party girl, is
yeah,
her stick.
Is lying about her backstory to people.
Well, I guess she probably was on the street because she was partying so much. She's probably down there with Mr. Funktastic.
I forget about Mr. Funktastic.
I will never forget about Mr. Funktastic.
He's funktastic. How could you?
He is the best character ever.
Ever?
Of all time.
Oh my god, could we just make a tier list of characters from these films as well?
That might take a while.
It would take a very long time.
And we'd forget about an awesome one and be sad about it.
Yeah, exactly. Where does John Wick go D tier? No. Of course he doesn't. It's Keanu Reeves. I can't do that to the boy. I guess why we don't have a lot to say about it is it's just very confusing. It's written as if... I think we pointed this out... Oh, well, I tried to point this out whilst we were watching it the first time. Is it feels like it's trying way too hard to be relevant today.
I guess so. It's got a lot of it's trying to bring up a lot of problems that maybe women come across today.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think I just have a problem with how it's presented in the film. Is that every male character that you meet throughout the first 50 minutes, aside from Patrick Stewart, who is meant to be is presented as the good guy. He's a Bosley. But every male character you meet is a creep.
Yeah, that is a bit...
Is
a bit much.
And because you're first introduced to Fleming, who's the scientist's boss, who does creepy corporate flirting and name drops important people and just doesn't listen to safety concerns. And if it sounds generic and tropey, it's because it really feels it.
I suppose that might be a problem with all the Charlie Angels films, that they are not very kind to men.
I feel weirdly enough,
maybe
though,
even women as well. But
yeah, but weirdly enough, I feel like the first Charlie's Angels film, it treats the men better than this does.
A bit like stupid animals. Look at the pretty thing. And punch.
In a sense, yeah. I think there's in a pretty thing, but I think they have different types of men in this. In Charlie's Angels, the first one, they have very different types. You've got dumb but lovable Joey, who's not Joey, but dumb but lovable Joey. You've got kind of very puppy doggish Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
And then you've just got the sleazy but well-meaning, kind of. I don't
Chad?
like the Chad, but But he's a different type of guy that obviously Drew Barrymore in that film is attracted to. They apparently were dating at the time, so that's probably why
we've got the male scientist in this one.
Yeah, but he has one scene.
He has a few scenes.
I remember one.
He was her co-worker, so you saw them together a few times.
Oh yeah, they do the Run DMC bit, don't they? She walks up to the stage and she starts reciting Run DMC.
And he's there with her.
Yes, but it's also very awkward that she would start doing that with all the executives standing behind her. Like, Fleming is there.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
That's not very professional.
And you think after the meeting they've had, like where he basically just goes, "You're a woman, you're not going to be able to do this. Let me handle the meeting."
Well, he was trying to... He was trying to bully her into not telling people that it's a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. I also feel like the whole revelation at the end, the whole meeting...
Don't do that.
Oh yeah, sorry, my fingers, sorry. I also feel like the whole thing where obviously, like, you know, the CEO of the company is also kind of in on it, but also kind of not. I feel like the bad guy reveals of the film are messy, probably even a bit messier than the Demi Moore fiasco, because they try to overcomplicate it.
I thought Patrick Stewart makes quite a good bad guy.
Yes, but...
I was freaked out, especially when they put a dog collar on her. I'm not even sure why. Why did they put a dog collar on her?
You know what? Now I forget.
I thought that it was going to be a torture device, but then it never really happened.
Yeah, like a shock collar or something, maybe. But no, it's just there to lead her into the next... It is literally to lead her into the next room.
I kind of didn't like that part.
Which, you know, the guy who leads her into the next room is an assassin that's been chasing them throughout the entire... Who's been a formidable foe throughout the entire film.
And he dressed her up and put a dog collar on her.
And he apparently is, incapable of leading her into the next room without putting a dog collar on her and leading her through.
I didn't like that part.
No. But, like, that whole sequence, that meeting sequence where Patrick Stewart then betrays the CEO, it feels sloppily done, because nothing kind of... The motivations of the characters aren't really adding up. Even the CEO at one point is just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just like, I'm right there with you, dude. I do not know. The angels themselves, I'm not sure, are particularly charming characters.
I think the problem I have with the angels this time is that they've literally just kind of met. Like, two had met like previously the year early, but they didn't really know each other very well. Yeah. So they weren't that tight knit group of friends that the original angels were. And I think that hurt the film a little bit as well, because they weren't fighting for each other.
They're kind of more on a mission. This is their 9 to 5. They're not doing this because they are friends looking out for each other as well.
They end up friends at the end.
But it's literally the end.
It's a little bit... I'd prefer it if it was from the beginning.
Yeah. It's also a very different picture as to what the trailer paints, because we watched the trailer before we recorded this.
And the trailer is the kind of film I wanted to watch.
The trailer, weirdly enough, also includes a lot from the end credits montages. I was surprised, because in the end credits, the scientist woman...
Do you think they recorded that just for the trailer?
It feels like it, because... The whole thing of the film is this scientist behind this energy source that is weaponized, that's the main MacGuffin plot of the film, isn't an angel throughout the entire film. She's just kind of there because she knows the tech.
She's the client.
Yeah,
she starts off as the client.
Yeah, and she knows the tech of the MacGuffin. So she's important, but she's not an angel. And then right at the end, they make her an angel, and then they have this montage of her doing...
camp.
Yeah, they have a montage of her doing all this training stuff that's used in the trailer, as if, like, this is all the stuff they're going to be doing in the film.
Yeah.
There's that...
It's a bit of a night and day moment. Usually I don't compare the films to the trailers because I don't like watching trailers.
Yeah. Don't, and I can see from that trailer why you don't like watching trailers, because that's a bad trailer.
The film that I watched was not that trailer.
Yeah, it's so misleading. It plays it up as campy and fun. There's the montage scene at the end where they all jump out the plane, and Elizabeth Banks has that one moment of like
Woo!
levity and just like, no, you got to go land the plane later, fucker, and like Bass jumps out the
Peace
plane,
out.
and it's really like it's probably it's how the film should have been.
That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, it's a much more light-hearted and like just jovial attitude to making the action film than what we got, which is very serious, very.
It's too serious for what it should be.
Yeah, I also feel that but then when it does get stupid, for instance, we disagree on this. The finale, the entrance to the finale, where Kristen Stewart and cannot remember her name, and I'm kicking myself for this. Jane. Yeah, so Sabina and Jane walk into the mansion where the final sequence is going to take place.
Oh, I love this part.
And immediately break into a dance number that's a choreographed dance number.
And everyone else is dancing the exact same way. It's great.
Yes, it would be if the rest of the film had been that stupid.
No, I was this was the scene I was waiting for, and then it arrived. I was like, hell yeah!
But it's like. And I don't want to rag on this film too much because it's been done a lot, but it's like the Ghostbusters reboot, the all-women Ghostbusters reboot, which I really wanted to love a lot more than I did. Leslie Williams, amazing in it, but the film itself was a letdown. And there's that out-of-nowhere scene at the end. It's the introduction to the finale where Chris Hemsworth gets possessed and leads a dance number through Times Square or some shit.
Doesn't he? I thought that was the end credits sequence.
But it's like the introduction to the finale, and it comes out of nowhere, and it just doesn't work.
No, it totally works.
It does not, and you are misremembering
No, I
that.
mean Charlie's Angels, the dance scene works.
It works in the context of, like, the final reveal is that almost everyone in that place is an angel. So It's all a kind of big sting to catch Patrick Stewart. Which also brings up the question, why does Patrick Stewart not recognise anyone there?
He wasn't really at the party for that long.
Yeah, but he walked through the entire hall. And right at the end, he stood in the hall surrounded by all these women.
But they were kind of invisible, if you think about it. Women at the party. They're just generic good-looking women at a party. No one's going to really...
I take serious issue with that.
Maybe I'm a bit more forgiving for that. I thought it worked all right.
Yeah.
No.
But at the same time, like the dance number does not feel earned to me because the rest of the film is not that campy. The rest of the film is not that.
Just really happy to see it.
You were just happy to see something dumb and fun in an action movie like that, but I was just like, nah. Yes, it was, well shot, glitzy, choreographed well. All good things.
When they go into the photo booth to get changed, and then it takes pictures of them with the guns everywhere, and I was like, yeah. And then it kind of petered off, and we didn't get any campy fun after that.
Yeah, and the action.
And I was a bit sad. Although the death of the assassin was quite funny.
Oh yes, he gets impaled on an ice sculpture, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then suddenly it's like, oh, party's over, just go home.
Oh yeah, the CEO just has a meltdown.
Yeah, he's
doesn't
like,
he?
whatever, just go away.
And again, that energy's fun.
I liked that.
There's just not
There's
enough
not enough
of it.
Of that.
Yeah,
If there was more of that. I think the finale was all right.
The finale is
the finale.
It's going where the film needs to go.
Apart from the dog collar bit, I quite like the finale.
Yeah. And again, there's just not enough of the campy goodness, and I don't know if it's affected by us watching all three in a row. Well,
I think that if they wanted this to be a proper gritty reboot, then they probably shouldn't keep referencing the campy films. They bring back all the costumes. They have references to those weird German. Those are what the German Lederhosen costumes that they wear in the first one. The Mongolia costume as well.
Oh yeah, that is in there, isn't it? Yeah, there's all sorts of references, but
maybe if they didn't want it to be like that, just don't have any references.
Yeah, just do a full reboot and not try and make it a legacy sequel. I guess. What is your rating for it, Lottie?
C.
C.
Yeah,
you are generous.
It's not as it didn't make me angry. It made me a bit disappointed, but I quite liked the finale. And I think that brings it up to a C for me.
It's a D.
D.
D tier for me. I have not. I don't want. I feel too conflicted about it because I'm just like, I know what it's trying to do, but it's just not.
It was a shame. It was a disappointment because it could have been what it could have been and what it was.
Yeah, you try and do like the campy, kitschy fun of Charlie's Angels through the gritty medium of John Wick, and it doesn't work.
No.
And even John Wick knows that it's being stupid. Like, John Wick has knowledge.
John Wick versus Charlie's Angels.
Exactly, the film we want now. But I think...
I'm giving that idea for free if anyone wants to take that.
And my rate is now 22 an hour.
Just get me some, premiere tickets. We'll call it even.
Yeah, so at least let you walk the red carpet.
That's all I want.
Yeah, not even be let into the film. just walk the red carpet.
And then walk it right back into the street.
All the press photographers are just going, the film's that way. I know.
I'm just not invited.
The director hates me.
I kept giving him really bad suggestions.
I rewrote the script to make it a romantic comedy and he kicked me out the building.
I just wanted Bosley and John Wick to get together.
I rewrote it in crayon.
And you smiley faces in blood.
In blood? Damn it, girl, what the hell?
And it got really dark.
Yeah. Because then I started getting drowsy because I lost blood. And I was just...
Oh, it was not mine, don't worry.
Oh, God damn it. The question is, whose blood is it? Whose blood is it? Whose blood?
I think we all know it's
mine. No!
You better check what I put in that coffee.
Yeah, there's no more episodes after this because apparently I'm getting murdered.
Hooray!
Right, well, thank you very much for indulging us on the Charlie's Angels tirade. That's probably what the episode will be named.
Yeah, tirade, trilogy.
The Charlie's Angels tirade. I need to look up how to spell tirade.
I need to look up what tirade means.
Okay, well, we'll go do that and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye!